Okay, this is day 75. I think this is part 8. I don't know how much more news can break in one day. So this will be a little bit of a potpourri. But as you can see right over here, we're at C Street and 3rd. There's the metro stop for Federal Center. Then, of course, Donna Shalala. Remember Donna Shalala from Haiti and the Clinton Foundation now. That's HHS right behind us. Right down there is Museum of the Bible, that new Museum of the Bible. Can't seem to find USRA. I think they may have moved to Columbia, Maryland. That's going to be Molly McCauley and all the surveillance apps, right? And then, of course, here you got the O'Neill House of Representatives buildings. So the first story I'll do is most of the people you see up on Capitol Hill that are actually working up there are young kids that are interns or maybe first level. When you get into these buildings is actually when you're getting in more of the senior staff, where you're getting the legislative directors, legislative assistants work for them, and then up to the chief of staff, and then sometimes the communications directors. But most of the action in terms of bill making and stuff is mainly happening here. There's some that happens up on Capitol Hill, but mainly it's for more of a reception area for meeting donors and so forth, because there's the feel of Capitol Hill, and everyone has those great feelings and they want to give more when they see the columns and all that stuff. But this is really where the action is, where the action happens. So a couple of different stories breaking on that is, one, we obviously have Comey with the $20 million when he becomes FBI director with PIMCO. Not PIMCO, PIMCO, okay? We have the Steve Bannon story that's breaking right now, and that's going to be Navy, Navy, Navy. Now, why do I say Steve Bannon, Navy, Navy, Navy? Well, was he in the Navy? Yeah, I think he was a lieutenant, but there's a lot more background to him than that. He then goes into foreign service. He's in Pakistan, which is a good place to be, I guess, if you're from the Foreign Service School of Georgetown, a well-known place where they do recruit CIA. I'm just saying. He was in signal intelligence, which is dealing with top secret information, I believe. He was he worked at the Pentagon and he worked as a communications director to the assistant for naval operations. I think he was even in the guy for Iron Claw. Remember when they had 3 helicopters across the Iranian desert to try to get the hostages out? That failed a hostage attempt. I don't know if they were setting up Carter or not in a kind of a psyop there, but it had that psyop feel where 3 helicopters go down in the desert and it really made Carter look bad, and it brought in Reagan. I don't know. He was involved, and most people don't know those things. He was involved in this kind of like experiment to have these astronauts live in this kind of bubble. So, what was that all about? He just kind of moved from Hollywood to all these things at meteoric speed, and that usually is a signature of kind of a CIA guy. Now, I'm not saying he's CIA, but it just has that signature. And then, of course, influence. You get a patch. You get the influence patch. That's going to be my influence patch from now on. You get the influence patch at CIA when you go do a role like this, a political role, which is, I hate to say mockingbird, but it's an influence thing. You want to control both sides of an issue, both the left and the right, so you want to infiltrate both sides. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we're working that story. Now the fire, everybody's with the fire now with Hillary Clinton. It makes a lot of sense. If Gulen is your halal meat dealer and they're bringing the drugs in from Javid, and Gulen's making a lot of money, you've got to process the transaction somehow. You've got to do that on a secure network. You could do that here, in Congress, but that's going to be more logistics. That's going to be more logistics, like the post office, right? That's more logistics. But the actual money laundering and the money transfers and so forth, you want to control that very tightly. And like I said before, that I believe is done out of Chappaqua, out of Bill and Hillary Clinton's home, or the one that Andy McCabe bought down the street. So there'll probably be some story about some wacky Republican Breitbart guy that went in, burned her house down and so forth. That's coming. But the real reason is going to be this laundering. The political party is to launder the money. If I say, here's a $50 million contribution, boom, there's $50 million that have been laundered, no matter where I got it, and no questions asked. And that's really the story of her career.